Good. I'm ready to talk right now. I was shaking a bit when we started.
Well, we're live again, so fucking fingers crossed. Can you hear us, Barney the dinosaur? Oh, hang on, there's a bit of lag.
Good morning. Do you hear me?
Do you hear Eric?
Hello. If you can hear me, put 5 exclamation points in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, they can hear you. They can hear you.
Oh, they got the shaking bit. Oh, that is.
Yeah, so let's we'll go through the preamble quickly again. So we met on Twitter. We had a bit of an argument, and it was about gender. It was about specifically Owen MacDonald's video, where he said there were more than two genders. Science was on his side, etc., etc., etc. So do you want to perhaps take us over your side of that?
Yes, I made a video, and my style is sort of to haphazardly introduce the video with a bunch of random stuff before I get into the actual content of the video. And it was sort of a throwaway thing, but I did stand by it. I responded to that 18-second video where Bering says, "What are the extra genders?" by saying, "What is this color?" and putting an indescribable dark puce color on the screen. And by the way, my picture is Norman Rockwell, The Adventure Trail. It's like a series of Boy Scout themed paintings. I really like Norman Rockwell.
Right. So I think the insinuation with that color though was that I was saying that there isn't more than two genders. Was it not?
I thought you were saying that if Owen was unable to tell you exactly what the extra genders were, then that would mean that he had failed to show that there were more than two genders.
No, see, I think that's where we got confused a bit. I was genuinely saying what are they? I mean, if a guy is saying there are this thing exists in nature, you know, if someone makes a statement like that, then it's reasonable to say, well, show me.
Yeah, and for the record, I thought Owen's video was really clumsy. He said almost nothing in that video.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on how would you differ from Owen? How would you differ from?
Well, I say you can't prove that there are agender people because it's an entirely mental thing. There are people with dysphoria, which is a medical thing, but then there's also people who are trans but don't experience dysphoria.
So are they really trans? If they, I mean, I haven't formed a real opinion on this, but I'm just sort of thinking aloud. Are they really trans if they're not experiencing dysphoria?
I say it's a matter of politeness. I think it is polite to call someone by their preferred gender.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's not what I was saying. I agree with you, and my take on that just quickly is that if somebody wants to be called fucking Z or Zay or whatever they want to be called, if I respect them, I will call them that. Just like anyone else. If I respect them, I will treat them well. But what was I asking? What was I asking before that?
Like, can you really call the person trans if they don't experience dysphoria?
Yeah. So outside of politeness, in just based on science, do you think that he's really trans, quote unquote?
I don't think we really have enough evidence to say. Like, I think that if they say they're transgender and there's a chance that they're lying, of course, but I don't really see the enormous holdup.
Yeah, fair enough. What else were we arguing about?
Like just the existence of of agender people at all, or like genderqueer people.
The
And
existence of them. Well, I think. Yeah, go.
I say that proving that someone who says that they are genderqueer is really genderqueer, proving or disproving it, is like a very similar exercise to proving that someone doesn't like dark chocolate. It's subjective. It's can't really be proven or disproven, and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, look, as I said, if I respect someone, I will be respectful towards them. I mean, what I can't stand are these. Sometimes you'll come across a really combative, trans person, or those people that demand that you call them this, demand that you use these. I can't stand that, and I will generally buck, which I've been told is
I,
horrendously wrong before, but I don't care.
like I think that it is rude to be like sort of combative in that way, but I I don't really like responding to rudeness with rudeness, you know.
Mm.
That's just a matter of personal opinion. You can I say that you can say whatever you want to people. It's just their right to then be offended by that.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, what's your take on? Let's talk about I mean, because gender, I mean, as we know, used to be just another word for sex. There was no difference between the two, and then over the years, it became, it got to the current state of the word where we recognize gender as a way of psychologically relating to your sex, I suppose. Would you say?
Yeah, that's about it. It's like it's how you experience your body and how you express yourself.
So if gender is how you sort of psychologically relate to your sex, and there's only two sexes. I mean, can you see the
Well, you can see
question
your
coming?
you can see yourself as a mixture of both. You can see
Mm.
yourself as neither. You can see yourself as going very quickly between the two. Uh, of course, I'm not genderqueer myself. I can't really say exactly what it's like, but I
Mm.
think that word of mouth is not always completely untrustable.
Yeah. I mean, how would you define gender? Would you define gender? This is it's like similar to what I just did, or how would you put it in your words?
Uh, it's there's everyone has a different definition of the word, but I would say
But that
it
can't really work.
is.
That can't really work, can it? Surely we need a uniform definition. That's the idea of language.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I'm being put on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, you're not being put on the spot. That's the idea. We're having a discussion. It's
Yes,
not necessarily going to be an easy discussion. We're not here to be, super polite, friendly. We're
it's
not going to be
it's
enemies either. But fucking let's get into it. Don't be
people
shy.
people who know what gender they are, know what gender they are. It's like it's abstract. It's like defining science fiction. Uh, it's like science fiction is like Star Trek, uh, but what
I,
else
s-
is it? It's
I see what you're saying, but um, where I struggle is the and you and I came across it in our Twitter wars was this line between gender and sex always gets blurred. Now, when you're talking about gender, I mean you can sit there and say, well, everyone decides their own gender, and it's it's what you make of it. But how does that relate to someone competing on a girls' basketball team or a men's wrestling team? Are we talking sex there? Or are we talking gender?
it's always been very squishy. It's it's
Well, that's what our generation has to work out, man.
yes, I'm sex has always been defined as either chromosomes or primary sex characteristics or secondary sex characteristics. Uh, it everyone says that it's a different thing. Like someone says that the sex is what chromosomes you have, and some people say that it means that you have breasts and hips and.
Well, I think there's a much simpler way of defining it, and it's if you think about sex not as an object, but as a think of it as a function as well, like having sex. Well, what are you doing when you're having sex? You're creating offspring, and there's two parts to that. There's one person has to produce sperm, and one person has to produce an egg, and so the two sexes to me are the one that produces sperm and the one that produces eggs.
Okay, that makes sense, and that's useful for the purpose of like making babies.
Mm. And that's what I don't. I mean, you often hear people sort of say, well, there's the third sex, and you often hear people say there's a spectrum of sexes. That's bullshit. I don't accept that. But even the third sex, where people will argue that intersex people are a third sex. Well,
it depends on how you define sex. Like if sex is just chromosomes, then intersex people are a third sex. But if it's
if we go on my definition, it's the function. Then there's no function there for them. They're either one or the other. Now, usually an intersex person will either produce sperm or eggs, or unfortunately none.
Yeah, what sex are infertile women, or
infertile women? They're women.
Okay,
they've just got, but their reproduction organs aren't working. Simple.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, with your definition of sex, there are only two sexes.
Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that intersex people don't exist. They certainly do. But when you go back to that, when you go back to looking at sex as both an object and a function, then there's no third function in having sex to make a baby. There's no third role. There's no one's got another hole that needs filling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, that makes a lot of sense. But outside of the bedroom,
yeah,
I think that just seeing things in a strict binary like that isn't really that useful.
But see outside of the bedroom, I think is irrelevant, because outside of the bedroom, I think you're talking how we interact with each other socially. So I think that's where you cross the line into gender. Sex to me is purely. I mean, nature doesn't give a fuck about anyone's feelings. It's made us evolve so that we can reproduce. That's it. That's the only thing that there is. I mean, gender is something that we've invented.
Yeah, we've invented gender because our brains have gotten complex enough to sort of transcend that just complete naturalistic hellscape.
What do you mean?
Like,
to make it more than just fucking in the bedroom, do you mean?
Yeah, like I think that the existence of art, which is technically useless, is an example of that.
Yeah, but you don't need art to get a chick pregnant.
Yeah, but so why do we make it?
Well, because we are sophisticated beings. And we have
the mental capacity to sort of come up with the idea of gender.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean it has to have everything to do with sex. Sex is very, very primitive, rough and ready. There's just fucking sex is sex. It's really, really basic and simple. I think all of these other things that we attach to it are fall into that realm of gender. And then there's a lot of people that argue that there's no difference. I mean, I kind of get where they're coming from as well. Do you ever consider that? Do you ever think about that?
What? Consider?
Well, the people that say that gender is sex is gender.
Well, I think that they're wrong. It's just very demonstrably untrue.
How? I mean, that's what I was asking.
Because transgender people exist. Like that's.
Yeah, but the proof required to show that you're transgender, as you said before, is just someone saying that they're transgender. So
not everything.
Saying that
not everything
the proof is someone who says something.
Yeah, not everything can really be proved by hard science. It's sometimes you just have to ask someone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. As it relates to their subjective perspective, I suppose. But when we're talking about gender as a human trait, I suppose, as a general human trait, not related to anyone, we're talking about gender itself. We're not talking about someone's gender. We're talking about the topic of gender.
What's the difference?
Well, just it takes the feelings out of it. I mean, we're talking about gender in human beings. We're not talking about gender in a specific human being.
It's abstract. Gender can only exist within an individual. Like there's no complete collective genderiness.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that there's a collective genderiness. I'm saying that for example, the way that we perceive philosophy is a subjective thing. We all understand it in our own way, right? But there still is the subject of philosophy that you can go to school and learn. There's both the way you understand it, and there's the study, the general topic. Now, surely gender can be something that can be discussed like that in a general sense.
Yeah, and a lot of people discuss the subject of gender as if it's fluid, and it is a self-applied identity that people find out about themselves.
There's another rabbit hole, gender fluidity. I mean, I suppose, if it's purely based on, is gender a choice?
To some people it might be. I don't know. Like I'm not an authority on that. I don't think I chose to identify as male.
Yeah, either did I. I was just born with a dick. I'm a pretty simple guy. What about sexuality? Is sexuality a choice?
No, most assuredly not.
No. Okay.
The people who say it is are probably bisexual. Like they believe that it is a choice because they actually are attracted to more than one sex.
What did you think of the Bill Nye? Did you see the Bill Nye episode of?
I did not. I have not caught up on that. What did he say?
Oh, he said some ridiculous shit. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But there was this horrible song, and it's had me thinking, because it's meant to be this really liberal, progressive sort of atmosphere, and this fat thing gets up and sings this fucking gender song, and it's horrible. And she's banging on about how everyone's got choices and there's choices in the world, and it's all about choices at the start. And I thought, hang on a sec. I thought that the general consensus was that sexuality isn't a choice, and that gender and that sort of thing isn't a choice.
It's your choice to present as the gender you identify as. I think that might be the choice they're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, everyone's got the choice to wear clothes that they.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the song. I can't talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I'm not pressing it. Tell me, what are your thoughts on say the difference between a trans person these days and what would commonly be called a transvestite in the 90s?
Well, uh, as far as I can tell, that used to just mean cross-dressing yourself for fun.
Yeah.
And I'd say now it's more like an innate thing that people feel about themselves.
So, okay. So, are you saying that there's not really transvestites anymore, or
Oh, that there's people who enjoy dressing in drag,
yeah.
and calling them transvestites, I don't think is quite politically correct, because, like, I don't know, because it sort of became a slur.
How do you become a slur? Because I remember because one of the places I lived when I was a kid, there was you'd see transvestites quite often, walking down the street, and they used to call themselves transvestites.
Yeah, I'm not well versed on this particular sector of history. I'd like to discuss something else.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the other thing I talked about in the video, and that's your the one thing that I really side with you on is that you shouldn't have had to change your avatar.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm of two minds about that. I mean,
I have one mind, and that is that like your new avatar is good. Like, it is. I honestly, I think it's a little too cute.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is like, it is professional in its cuteness. But I am virulently anti-copyright. I think, and I get really mad. Like, Kevin Logan cannot go 5 seconds when he talks about you without calling you intellectual property theft.
Oh, but I don't think it really. I think when he does that, it doesn't really matter what he's calling me, as long as he has something to call me. I mean, it could be anything. He doesn't care what it is, as long as he's got something to call me. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got Chrisiosity on in their camp that did the exact same fucking thing, exact same thing as me. Yet they're silent on her. It's just,
Yeah, I say people are like using that as ammunition, because instead of like actually calling you an asshole for the asshole things that you do, they just call you an intellectual property thief.
Hey, what asshole things do I do?
Oh, just the usual. I wrote a song about it. Like,
I haven't heard that.
oh, you haven't?
I don't think so.
It's all the things that Demotivator said about you.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it has a pretense that it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. Like, you should be aware of this massive swarm of brainless fucking insects that you have in your audience.
So did you do much research before you wrote this song, or was it, did you listen to Demotivator's song and go for it?
I like, research with what? Just seeing like your videos.
Well, did you come and look at my channel and look at the things that I say?
Yeah,
and
I look at the things that you say, and I think your videos, they kind of they have little things.
Is it because I say cunt? Is it cunt?
No, I think it's like the combination of like your jokes and those pictures that you draw of who draws those?
Which one?
The caricatures.
Oh, like Fisty Splinters and all that.
Yeah.
That was
like,
I can't remember who drew that one. That was just someone in my audience. It was, I think they did a good job though. Very lifelike.
Yeah, I think that's just sort of unneeded. I don't really understand the point of that.
Well, it's satire. It's just satire. So I mean, I take it that when you wrote that song, I mean, I take it that the intention of that song is to amuse people and get a laugh out of people, that sort of thing, or is it a serious you have a problem with me sort of song?
It is a conscientious, serious song.
Is it?
In fact, I made it like it sounds like a much bigger tragedy than it actually is. Like I made it sound like you just bombed a country.
What's it called? What would you call it?
It's called A Song for Bearing. I think you might like it just as a song.
Yeah, I'll put it on my channel.
And of course, the first thing in the description is if Bearing responds to this, he is required to do so in song.
I'm not doing that, motherfucker.
Okay, that's fine.
So just going back to the drawings. I mean, do you ever laugh at comics in like a comic strip in the paper? Do you get satire? Do you get
like what is it satire of?
Of
like just her visage,
of Christie.
It is just her face. It's the excellent next level satire of Christie's face.
Well, I think it sort of it represents her attitude. It's this mean sort of face. This this screwed up sort of fuck you, I want to control you face to me, and that's how I perceive her. That's how she acts to me. That's.
I think it is just kind of unneeded. It's like this big fuel. It's subconscious fuel. It's like you're not intentionally rousing up anything. It's just accidentally.
Yeah. So what do you? I mean, do you have the same thoughts when they like attempt to do that sort of thing to me? They don't do it very well. That's why you don't see it that often. But they do attempt.
I think that's wrong. I haven't made a video or a song. I made a song about it because like you're a musician. I could have made the song about I'm Doomed. I could have made the song about someone else, but I made it about you because like I thought a song would like.
Well, I need to have a listen to this now. That's interesting. And so, what was the intention of the song? Was the intent to
the attempt was to make a song because like the hook popped into my head when I was fuming at like how smugly irresponsible you are with your fans.
What do you mean smugly irresponsible?
That was a bad word. But irresponsible is the word. It's
how so?
It's like it's the idea isn't that you're like no amount of anti-harassment notices is going to stop these fools from swarming into the comment sections of the videos. And
why are they fools?
I'm okay with it. I would be okay if your fans just completely destroyed me because like I'm not personally bothered by that thing, but I have empathy for people who can't quite handle it.
But why are they fools? I mean, if somebody sees, I mean, okay, this is gonna come back home. I mean, if somebody sees something that they don't like on the internet, surely you agree that they have the right to go and express the fact that they don't like. That's exactly what you did. You saw me on the internet. You said, I don't like this guy. I'm going to go and express my opinion that I don't fucking like. And that's exactly what you did. And now you're here calling these people fools for doing the same thing.
Everyone has the right. It's just I'm pretty sure Demotivator said exactly the same thing, that he has the right to think it's a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
And you just have such a, not like quite PewDiePie levels, but you have a respectively sized audience. And I think that with great power comes great responsibility.
But I don't have power, man. I don't have power. I mean, I make observations on the internet now. When I started doing that, which was a year and a half ago, I had no audience. Now I'm doing nothing differently these days than I did back then. I put things on the internet and I express my opinion. I point at things and I say, this is what I think of that thing.
Yeah, now, I think if you really if you really wanted to give feedback, you would
What if
you
I
would.
don't? What if I don't want to give feedback? What if I do just want to take the piss? I'm allowed to take the piss, aren't I? People are allowed to take the piss.
You're allowed to.
Comedians can take the piss.
You keep on saying allowed. Like, of course, I'm not gonna tell like the police to come stop you.
Yeah, no, I know that I'm allowed. I'm not asking you permission. I'm saying, surely it's socially acceptable for me to do that, or do you not think it's socially acceptable for me to do that?
I don't quite think it is. Like doing it in the way that you do it. Like something about your channel may, like, I know Kevin Logan can like take as much as he gives, but his video on you just gets so much more rammed than his videos on anyone else. And
the one where he calls me a stupid fucking cunt and a motherfucker and a bastard. Are you serious?
Yeah, all his videos are like that.
Oh fuck.
But why did the one about you just get so much more hate?
Well, I don't know. I'm hazarding a guess because I articulated a response back to him that made him look like a fucking idiot, and more people agreed with me than agreed with him. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing.
Look, but why didn't that happen with The Amazing Atheist or Teal Deer or whatever?
Because The Amazing Atheist must not have articulated a stronger response as I did. I'm assuming.
Yeah, he didn't make a response at all. That's the thing. He commented on it.
Let me ask you, what do you think it is? Do you think there's a conspiracy where
it's not a conspiracy? It's just like little tiny things, like unintentional. It's not your fault. That's the thing. It's not your fault. It's I don't think anything is really anyone's fault in this situation. I think just little things about your content is sort of. But you've got not quite inciting it, but
you've got to identify what it is. Otherwise, it's a non-issue, isn't it?
I don't know. Like I can't say exactly what it is, but I know that it's there. It's like dark matter. You can observe its effects. Like I think it's like all the.
So it's a bit like rape culture. It's a bit like rape culture. Like it's
yes, it is.
So. How are we to do anything? Because look, I'll tell you this. I'm not a bad guy. I'm really not. I don't get up in the morning.
I know you're not.
I want to do evil today. I want to hurt people's feelings. I don't do that. If I wanted to fix this, how would I go about it? What steps would I take? If you can't tell me what the issue is, then other than just shut the fuck up and don't talk, I don't know what the solution is.
I can't. Don't know if it would work or not. But I would maybe apologize, apologize to your audience and to the people that you've made videos about.
Apologize for what?
Apologize for judging poorly what would happen when you did that. And then maybe having your content be a bit more intellectual and less pony.
Mate, my content isn't. I don't consider it intellectual or ponage. My content is just honesty. It's just a bloke sitting there making observations. I don't have any fucking. I'm not looking through any particular lens. I'm not doing it in any fucking particular fashion. I mean, I don't understand what I'm supposed to be apologizing for. I mean, and especially
I told you,
Christy Winters, who fucking facilitates my doxes.
I know it's very hard to apologize for something that wasn't really your fault, and I know it wasn't your fault. But
what is it? What even is it? Like
I told you, I can't really say, but it's there. And in the song that I wrote about you, the main line is, "I understand not one snowflake thinks it caused the avalanche." It's
But okay, so just going on that analogy, the snowflake that did cause the avalanche, should that not have fallen where it did? Like,
No, like it's no single snowflake's fault, and the blame can't really be pinned. So like the only thing to do is to realize exactly what impact that one snowflake might have had.
let's look at it from this angle, right? Am I allowed, am I within my rights to express my opinion on the internet?
Of course, it's within your rights.
Okay, so if it's within my rights to express my opinion on the internet,
doesn't mean you should do it.
What?
It's within your rights, but it doesn't mean it's a good idea
to express my opinion on the internet.
I mean, in the way that you do, like
in what way do I do it? See, this is this circular problem we keep coming back to. You can't identify the faulty way in which that I do it, yet I have the right to do it. I mean, I can't work with that. That's what?
You can express your opinions without raining your hot fire onto smaller channels.
But I don't do that. I specifically tell people not to, and I have,
it's not working though. I think it's much easier to just not.
Surely, if it's not working, then it's got to be considered. Well, okay, if people are then by their own free will going and expressing their opinions on someone else's channel, well, that's a them thing. I can't and I won't presume to stop people from expressing themselves. I mean,
like you can express yourself without bringing your fans to other people's content.
I don't bring them at all. I encourage them not to.
You don't intentionally bring them, but that's what happens.
So how do we fix that?
By making the video about someone a bit higher up. Like you can say the same things, but like,
a bit hot. What do you mean with a bigger audience? Like I've made videos about Casey Neistat. I've made videos about Lacey Grant. I've made videos about people with millions of subscribers. I make videos about the Young Turks. I make videos about Christ knows who. I mean, it's very rare that you see me make a video about someone with a small amount of subscribers.
I mean, it doesn't matter how rare it is. The fact that you've done it at all is something that you should apologize for.
Well, you see, this is the way I see it. I told you just before that it was only a year and a half ago that I started my channel. Now, I've always seen it like this. My subscribers aren't my property. They're people. They're people who are interested in what I say. They're interested in what other people say too. They're not just subscribed to me. So I think the number of people who are interested in what you say is irrelevant. It doesn't make me 2 people. It doesn't make me 10. It doesn't make me an army. And I think that no matter how many subscribers you have, you're always one person. And that's why I've always, no matter what size I am, have gone after anyone.
I say that you can put forth your ideas without it literally being a response to something. I don't like my first couple of videos where I'm talking about Paul Joseph Watson and TJ because I'm just piggybacking on their arguments.
What's wrong with that? What you're entitled to have an opinion on that?
I mean, I just felt it was sort of unoriginal, and I was just saying, get a load of this guy for 10 minutes.
It might have been. It might have been unoriginal, but you've got every right to be unoriginal.
Yeah, but I didn't like it. I made that.
Did you apologize?
I mean, I didn't hurt them at all.
Why?
Like at most, 95 people got sent over there.
What, you sent them over there?
At most, I didn't send them consciously. I didn't even link to their channel.
So if they had have gone over there, it would have been on them. It would have just nothing to do with you. It would have been them. They just happened to hear an idea at your channel. They went of their own free will to another person's channel and left a comment.
I technically wouldn't have caused it. I mean, I would have caused it. I misspoke. I would have caused that, but in the grand scheme of things, it isn't really that much of a big deal.
Why?
because at most 95 people got to leave a comment on there.
But see, you're taking something that, like, what if tomorrow morning you woke up, right, and you had 50,000 subscribers, and all of a sudden those 50,000, you just noticed those 50,000 subscribers had scrolled back to your video about Paul Joseph Watson and TJ, and they'd all left fucking really nasty comments. Would that change all of a sudden? Would your liability between now and then, while you're literally asleep in bed?
At that point, I would have instigated that, and I would have to make a solemn
that's
apology
retarded.
video.
That is retarded. I'm sorry. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Surely people can only be responsible for what they do. How can you be responsible for something you didn't do?
It's when it comes to like being responsible, it's like all these causes just they branch back and back and back, and the best I would be able to do in that situation would be to just apologize.
For what? For other people?
Yeah, I can apologize on someone else's behalf.
You can if you want. You certainly don't have to, and it's probably not that
I
sane
want
to do all the time.
I want to, and I think it's the right thing to do.
Well, then why haven't you done it?
Because I don't have 50,000 subscribers.
So at what level do you have to start apologizing on behalf of other people? Is it 20,000? Is it 5,000? What number is it?
There's no... The best I can do is to make sure it doesn't happen again. Try and make my...
But how would you do that? Let's go back to that scenario. You wake up tomorrow, you've got 50,000 subscribers. How do you make sure it doesn't happen again? The only logical way in my mind that you can do that is to not express your opinion.
Yeah, what was I doing in that latest video? There's a quip about you, which of course now doesn't really fall into that, but the rest of the video is entirely from my own head. And you don't have anything like that. I mean, if you do, I'd love to see a link to that.
Say that again. Say it again.
I'm sorry. I haven't seen all your videos, but they really do seem to be generated from other people's content.
No, they're not. They're not. I'll send you some videos that are just me. But I mean, what was my last question? Yeah, what's the number? Where's the liability number?
Well, I say it's when you get bigger than the person you're talking about.
But I'm not bigger than anyone. I'm the same size as I was when I started.
Well,
do you mean people that watch me?
Yeah, amount of people. I think that's important. I think that's more responsibility than you think you really have. Like,
what if they're hate watchers? So what if they're like say, who's a good example? Say
me after the stream.
No, you'll be right. That'd be nice. Say, I don't know. Say Lacey Green, right? I reckon Lacey Green's got like 1.5 million subscribers. I reckon she'd have 200,000 or 300,000 people that are hate watchers that just are subscribed to just get the lols when she releases something, right? Are they included in this number? Do they count towards your liability number?
Technically, no, but you can't really
off.
you can't really quantify that.
Well, you can't quantify any of it, mate. It's unquantifiable. It shouldn't be quantified.
Like, it's a weird world. Everyone is bouncing off of each other haphazardly, and the best we can do is to just do our best. And when you can't, you can't.
Exactly.
But I don't think you have done your best.
But hang on a sec. I've expressed my opinion to the best of my ability. on the internet. Now, there's been times where I've given people a dressing down and that sort of thing because I think they've deserved it. Now,
I
what's
don't
wrong
think
with that?
anyone. Okay. I'm about to
You
go
you gave me a dressing
extremely.
down. You gave me a dressing down in your video. I mean, why can you do it, not me?
Here's the thing. I'm about to go extremely radical on you right now.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think people deserve things. I think that karma is a sort of outdated concept. I don't think criminals should be punished. They should be rehabilitated. I think that if someone says something dumb online, they don't then deserve to be completely rated. I don't think that's a reason for it to happen.
But that's not what I said. I said give them a dressing down. Now that might mean, speak to them and help them come to their senses. Like, isn't that rehabilitation?
Yeah, and you can do that by PM.
Well, no, you often can't. Look at us. Look at us on Twitter.
Yeah, now we're having this stream, and it's very nice.
It is, yeah. I agree. But my point is, you can't do it by PM most of the time.
Well, I think that someone saying something dumb isn't reason enough for them to be rated. That's what I'm saying.
If someone says something dumb, are you allowed to say, "Hey, just pointing out that is dumb, and this is why that is dumb"?
You're allowed to say it. You just need to be responsible with how your audience is going to take that.
How so? How? What are the steps?
Because your videos are so. Forgive me for saying this. They're so emotional. They're so
emotional.
Yeah, they're so. They're so
emotional. Really?
Yeah, they're big on just on the feeling of it, the wrongness, the betrayal. No, that's a bad way of saying it.
You seriously get emotional?
I mean, not sad. It's just like you're instigating something.
I'm usually taken. I'm usually sometimes I'm taken aback at how stupid people are and how nonsensical.
You're not emotional, sensationalist. It's like with those satirical drawings. And
who's your favorite comedian? Is your favorite comedian not saying that I'm a comedian, but are any entertainers allowed to be sensationalist?
I mean, I think I don't really watch like stand up. I can't name comedians, but
what about bands on stage? Do you have any? I mean, you surely listen to bands that fucking headbang and jump off speakers and and do all the antics and that sort of thing.
I mean, I'm reminded of a I think it's a Saturday morning breakfast cereal comic where like the lead singer of a band is on stage and he's saying like, "Are you ready to rock? Would you do anything for me? Or are you ready to overthrow the government tonight?" That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You have except instead of overthrowing the president, you're instigating enormous like 2 minutes hates of of these random teenagers talking about gender.
What teenagers? What teenagers are you talking about?
Not teenagers. They're pretty moderately aged usually.
Oh, fucking hell. So yeah, I mean, look, I think what we've discussed so far. I mean, we've sort of gone from this. We've gone from this very, very polite, introduce each other, and we've gotten to this stage where we're comfortable to let each other have it now, and that's good. That's healthy. I want to have that kind of relationship with you. I think that we should end this conversation and just sort of digest it and come back and perhaps do another one next week. Hello? I lost you. I've lost your sound again, mate. Mate, if you can hear me, do you want to try jumping back in? Just exit and jump back in to the Hangout. Can you hear me? Chat, can you am I going nuts? Can you hear him, chat? No. Yeah, if you can hear me, man, just exit the Hangout and come back in. No, oh well. I'll catch you on. I'll send you a Skype message or something. Thanks everyone for joining. That was pretty interesting. As I said, I think it'd be interesting digesting some of that and just coming back to it next week. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm out.